I hope I get a jobby, Freddy. I got my fingers crossed.
Doing the job.
You got the job, buddy!
Doing the job.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan!
Doing the job.
Just say something, you idiot.
Doing the Job podcast.
It's gotta be special.
I like it.
Doing the job.
This show is so stupid.
He's stupid. He's so stupid.
I know how to do the job. Shut the f*** up.
Hate this job.
Doing the job.
Doing the job.
Doing the job.
This is doing the job.
With me at this time on Doing the Job, Ophidian the Cobra, Mr. Strike First, Strike Fast, Strike Hard himself. Ophidian, welcome to Doing the Job.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So, wanted to get started. I understand you're a big horror movie buff.
Oh, yes. I am a lover of Grindhouse, a lover of exploitation.
All right, I was so psyched when I heard about that. Are you a Nightmare on Elm Street fan?
The Nightmare on Elm Street series happens to be my favorite franchise in horror.
I am very happy to hear that. What's your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Oh. It's a toss-up between numbers 3 and 4. Both have their moments between the Roach Motel killing. Yes. And then the death boy who gets to make out with the nurse and then she wraps her tongue around him and he gets sucked, he's in the bed and he's gonna get sucked into hell.
Yeah.
And then welcome to primetime, bitch. Shoved into a TV and so good. Both of those movies are classics in my mind. The best Freddy moments come from those two films.
What about the first one? Just the very first one, the classic Nightmare on Elm Street.
The first one to me is on par with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. There's something about those two films there that kind of changed the game up, if you will.
Yeah.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street, it definitely without that holds a special place, but Freddy is a villain in that film. Although he has his comical moments with the long stretched out arms and he's scratching stuff and he's dragging people on ceilings, and it's funny, but in a really, really evil way. Whereas, later, he's a comedian.
Right.
And, but then that first film just really kind of takes funny to a different level, a different kind of,
Yeah, no, three and 4 were definitely more lighthearted, but the first one was just dark. I agree with you on that one.
I love that. Yes.
Do you by chance... Go ahead, Pat.
That's why part 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare was such a good film as well, going back to Freddy's roots.
Well, then I can't help but wonder, what do you think of the remake from 2010?
I like to imagine that it didn't happen. We didn't have to go through that I didn't have to go through that.
All right, so we're going to pretend that didn't happen, because I agree with you on that one. So, anyway, let's get into a little bit of wrestling here. So, right before we started, just wanted to throw out, you had a CZW Tag Team Championship match last night.
Yes.
And
live on iPay-per-view.
And it was against Blackout, I believe?
Absolutely. Last night was the first time I had teamed with Amasis since April of 2011. It's been over 2 years since Amasis and I were a team due to injuries and, me kind of hating his guts for a while.
Yeah, was he mad about your rap song about how you killed him?
He was a little bit mad about it. I would say him shoving me in a sarcophagus kind of backs that up. He definitely had a lot of anger when he showed back up into the wrestling world. A lot of pent-up frustration.
So how did you two reconnect and become friends again?
Well, at Never Compromise, which was the final iPay-per-view from Chikara, Amasa stripped me of the evil that I was possessed by. He took my soul in front of the world and then shoved my body in our sarcophagus to be reborn.
I'm very glad. As you said, the whole wrestling industry is very glad to see you two together again.
Yes, 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 yes. And last night felt wonderful. It was great to be back side by side with Amasis and beat the ever living hell out of Black G's and Ruckus.
How did you get into the wrestling? I mean, I know you went to the Wrestle Factory and such, but how did that all come about? Were you a lifelong fan before?
Well, you see, a younger Ophidian had access to the ECW arena.
Oh, wow.
Going there month in and month out and seeing gladiators and warriors and combatants just battle viscerally so close to you, the point where you could reach out and touch, and they touch back. You know, you didn't just see the action happening, you got to feel the action happening. The ECW arena is a different kind of experience, one that you don't get when you go to a WWF at the time, you know, when I was younger.
Right.
Or, a WCW or TNA. It's just that building pulls something out of everybody that's inside of it. The wrestlers, the fans, they come together and create a visceral emotion that you just can't replicate in any other kind of venue. And going there every single month and experiencing for years, experiencing pro wrestling live in front of me, it changes you. Yes, yes, yes.
So going back all the way to 521 BC, nothing was ever like the ECW experience?
Nothing. There were some days where you'd watch slaves kind of go back and forth and beat each other up, but it wasn't it wasn't as acrobatic or as entertaining as some of the bouts that took place in the arena.
And I understand, speaking of the Wrestle Factory, you train potential newcomers.
Yes, yes, yes. I help facilitate training alongside Mike Quackenbush and other trainers at the school.
Yeah,
at the Wrestle Factory. Yes. It is a wonderful experience if you're interested in becoming a pro wrestler and are based out of the Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York area. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of people that come from far to train with us. Not just in the United States, but all over the world that fly in to come train at the Wrestle Factory under us.
Yeah, I'm sorry there's no more Chikara, though. That must have been a blow.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Well, I guess one day maybe the universe will correct itself on that one. So speaking of training, what are your? Do you have any sort of special dietary regimen? I mean, I don't know. Do snakes have to eat certain things when they're training?
I have no specific dietary regimen. I do work out religiously to the dismay of some people involved in my life, like the significant others. Yes.
Oh boy.
All work and no play sometimes. I do believe in this, that there is always somebody willing to train harder, to attempt to be better at what they do than you. There's always someone behind you looking to move ahead of you. Yes. And you must constantly be training, constantly be bettering yourself in order to avoid falling behind, because the next generation will always find a way to work out a little bit harder, to fly a little bit higher, to run a little bit faster. Yes. And the second you stop training, the day you decide that you no longer need to learn, is the day you're probably done your profession. Yes. And I'm always training. Yes, 4 days a week at wrestling schools, at the Wrestle Factory, yes, and then constantly at the gym, monitoring, right, the diet, yes, no drinking for me, no smoking, no. I mean, man, that wants to be better than the rest.
And I think we should tell the listeners that even if you're not training to be a pro athlete, not drinking and not smoking, good habits to be in.
Yes, very good habits. Now, I do not. Anybody can do what they like in their life. Yes. It is theirs to experience. They may enjoy it how they will, but if you're attempting to better yourself, right, to move ahead, and especially an athletic industry, that is definitely a must.
I do have to say, I find it surprising that significant others have a problem with you working out so much, because Definitely had a few significant others that probably should have worked out more.
It's not the problem with working out. They quite enjoy the end result of that, and of course the experience of seeing me perform live. But it does take away from personal life. Yes.
Yeah.
Constantly being in a gym and at the wrestling factory, at the Wrestle Factory. Yeah.
Well, we do have to say about on the topic of significant others that they always want you to have a career and be goal oriented, but just enough that it makes them happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine happens to be a beautiful lady by the name of Haley Jane, a burlesque performer, a musician, yes, a costumer. Somebody very experienced in many, many fields. She understands, she comprehends.
So she's a performing artist as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And she did backup vocals for you on your Death to Amasis track.
Yes, she did. She was the angelic voice on that track.
Which, by the way, OphidianTheCobra.bandcamp.com if you want to hear the album we are discussing at the moment.
Yes, and there was a new Osirian Portal mixtape released actually about a week ago.
Same
that
place?
wasn't released by myself. That was released by a musician by the name of David vs. Everything. You can go to davidversuseverything.bandcamp.com to check out the brand new return of the Osirian Portal mixtape, or davidversuseverything.com. It is awesome. It is again just a mixtape, beats inspired by the Osirian Portal, and it has our brand new theme song on that track, on that album.
And also, while we're plugging websites, OphidianTheCobra.com, which pretty much is the portal to everything Ophidian.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so, I could say Facebook, Twitter, you have a Tumblr, which is actually very entertaining. Most Tumblrs are just emo pictures, but yours is pretty good.
I'm not a sad person. I know I have no need for emo pictures. I try to be happy, at least on Tumblr. Tumblr is a sad place sometimes.
Tumblr can be a minefield of sadness.
Very angry too. A lot of keyboard warriors.
So, what are some of your short-term goals at the very moment, maybe the next year or so, as a pro wrestler?
Well, now that Amasis and I are back, yes, we're looking to take back the tag team world. Our current goal at the moment, CZW tag team titles. Yes. We've been attempting to get into CZW for years, and we were back in 2010. If you've ever seen the most illegal move in the history of professional wrestling, that viral video that blew up for Amasis and myself in February of 2011, that came from CZW. We had to part ways due to some creative differences, but now we're back, and we want the gold there. Yes. There's also the tag league that Noah holds that Amasis and I are 100% setting as the top goal for us. Noah holds a wonderful tag league. If you're not unfamiliar with Noah is a promotion based out of Japan that Amasis and I are looking to go back to. We've been to Japan quite a few times, and Noah's one that we haven't been able to perform with yet.
How is wrestling in Japan versus wrestling in the United States?
Wrestling is wrestling almost anywhere you go. What makes it different are the people watching, are the fans. Yes. As I said earlier about the ECW arena, that building just evokes an emotion that no other venue in the United States can evoke from you. But Japan, they're a different kind of fan, right? They're a different kind of audience. Amasis and I made our debut at Kurnigan Hall, which is similar in mindset, right? As the ECW arena. It's a building that a lot of famous wrestlers have gone through. In America, the ECW arena has held Jericho's and Benoit's and Mysterio's and a lot of greats that have men that have turned into greats later. At Kurnigan Hall, every major promotion in Japan has come through. Almost every major wrestler has been in that building. And to have wrestled there as your debut match was insane. It was for Amasis and myself. And their fan base, they don't just cheer and boo. right? The Japanese audience just doesn't yay and boo you. No. They clap in appreciation. They sit back and dissect what you do and enjoy every little movement, every little step you take. They take in. Yes, and they enjoy it all. And they show their appreciation in a much different way. It is definitely a different experience. And the competition in Japan is very, 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 very high. Yes. The level of competition, that is.
And you had like a tiny like cup of coffee at ROH not too long ago.
Yes, Amasis and myself first wrestled in ROH in 2008. Our first match there was actually against Shane Hagedorn and Mitch Franklin, who later became Grizzly Redwood. And then after that match, we got a match against Generico and Steen for the non-title match. The time they were the tag team champions. Yes. And that was an experience, a very young Amasis and Ophidian battling the ROH tag team champions.
How did you?
I did make a return, like you just mentioned recently,
right,
for ROH TV. Yes.
How was it? The difference between then and now for you personally?
It was different stepping into that building without Amasis, for one, and the feel of the company shifted majorly. It was, ROH is filming for TV now, where when Amasis and I wrestled Steen Erico, it was not. It was just for the DVD audience. Yes, and it is a completely different experience. Everything from the fans that attended the shows to the way it's filmed to the feeling, of what's happening around you. Everything is so much bigger and brighter now than it used to be. And it's just a good thing. Yes, to see companies growing and expanding.
Do you have interest or ambition to rejoin them one day?
I, of course, would love to wrestle for every promotion that exists out there, but ROH is not the current goal at the moment. But do not be surprised if Amasis and myself end up there.
That's something. I'd be excited to see that. And I guess when you say every company, that would include potentially maybe one day WWE?
Never say never, my friend. Yes.
But that is something you'd want. Not necessarily, there are some that would rather not, but...
Well, as I mentioned earlier, right, the ECW arena, the independents are what made me a wrestling fan. That's what turned me into a professional wrestler.
Absolutely. It's such a wonderful experience being in an indie crowd that's just electric.
And the WWE, although that, of course, has made all of us fans of wrestling. It was not the WWE that made me fall in love with wrestling. It was the independents. It was your ROHs, your CZWs, your XPWs, your Chikaras, all of these promotions that have existed on the independents, and obviously way more than that. That what made me fall in love with. That's what made me want to become a professional wrestler. So at the end of the day, that is where I would love to be. But of course, the mecca of professional wrestling is the WWE. You don't get any bigger than that. And the chance to influence a new generation of wrestlers is not something I would turn down.
I'm guessing from being from all the way back in 521 BC, you must have had some influences in the business going all the way back there. And so who are some of the wrestlers that made you want to be a wrestler?
Well, back in ancient Egypt, we didn't have too much professional wrestling. It wasn't until we were sent through time, right, sent to this time period.
Right.
We got to actually see professional wrestling when showing up, when landing in front of the arena and seeing RVD and seeing your Sabus just tear it up live. Oh, man, tables and chairs and flying, doing tope con hilos into the crowd. Arabian moonsaults. There's so much zaniness happening. Oh, God, it was so good. RVD is one of the biggest influences on my career, without a doubt. And I'm so happy to see him back on a new run in WWE, as a little side note there. So glad to see he's back. And almost looking in top form. Doesn't look like that man's ever missed a day in the ring. your RVDs, and there's also so many more people that have influenced my career beyond Chris Hero, who is now Cassius Ohno in WWE's NXT. Had a big influence on my career as well. Somebody that I definitely had looked up to, as well as Claudio Castagnoli, who is Antonio Cesaro on WWE TV as well.
Good choices. So, what are some of your favorite matches of all time? Like maybe rattle off 3 top of your head.
So one of my favorite WWE matches is Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus Chris Benoit in a triple threat match. What a wonderful match that was.
I was in the audience for that match.
Oh, were you now?
Yep.
I've seen many moments. I was there the time Benoit won the Rumble and when Goldberg showed up on Raw for the first time. But I wish I was at a WrestleMania that I've never attended.
Goldberg, when he fought Roddy Mack at Madison Square Garden?
No, his first appearance on Raw.
Okay.
When he first showed up, they're like, "Hey, I'm Goldberg, and I'm in the WWE now."
Were you a Goldberg fan?
No, not that I disliked Goldberg, but I was a fan of the Luchadors. The first hour of Nitro every single week heavily featured, your Rey Mysterios and Juventud Guerreros and your Psychoses and Conans and Blitzkriegs and Super Gallows and Benoit, not Benoit, Malenko and Jericho. There's so many good wrestlers. Not that Goldberg isn't a wrestler, but that first hour of Nitro is what I enjoyed, and I was always kind of switched back to WWF after that first hour was over.
Plus, we know if Goldberg ever crossed paths with Ophidian, the streak would have ended way sooner.
Absolutely. Slap on a clutch. No, nobody's getting out of the Cobra clutch. No. I learned a thing or two watching Sergeant Slaughter.
So what was your favorite match that you were in?
Oh, right. I never finished. I kind of digressed there. Yes. My favorite matches.
Yeah.
So I did the triple threat match.
Right.
There's also another match between Chris Hero and Mike Quackenbush that took place in Chikara. It was a 2-year feud, a culmination of a feud between those two. That was tremendous. And those men were going counter for counter, move for move. They knew each other so well because Chris Hero was the trainer of the Wrestle Factory. Mike Quackenbush was a trainer at the Wrestle Factory. They knew each other better than anybody else. And Mike Quackenbush had to invent a new move, something that nobody had ever seen in order to defeat Chris Hero. And it was such a wonderful story to be told. And it was such a beautiful match.
That sounds like
those two had.
That sounds like a very epic battle.
It was great. It was one that I was glad to have been able to say I've seen live. And as far as the third, I mean, there's so many matches. You can go back to WCW when your Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero classic battles. And I don't remember the exact pay-per-view it was on, but the one where Rey Mysterio was wearing the question mark suit. It was purple, and it had question marks all kind of looked like the Phantom. And it was Mask versus Title against Eddie Guerrero. And it was their matches. I mean, any one of their matches are classics, but that one specifically. It was flawless in every single way.
And matches that you have participated in, do you have a favorite? Like if you were to
It's hard to say one specifically because there are different times in my career when I was a singles wrestler and a tag team wrestler. I'm very proud of a match that I've put on with one of my trainers. I've had many over there, but my main trainer, Mike Quackenbush, a one-on-one match that we had during the 12 Large Summit, the tournament, the round robin tournament held to crown the first ever Chikara Grand Champion. I had every single match in that tournament was great and just felt like epic battles. But the one I had specifically with Mike Quackenbush is without a doubt one of my proudest moments in wrestling. And teaming with Amasis, we had a great feud with the Colony. Yes. And our title defense after the long feud with the Colony, where Chikara, under their system of rules, every single tag team title match, or the Campeones de Parejas, which is what Chikara calls their tag titles, are defended under 2 out of 3 falls rules. But that night specifically, it was 1 fall to a finish. The Colony had such a giant winning streak. You have to acquire 3 points, that is 3 wins in a row, in order to qualify for a tag team title match. Well, the Colony had 7. Due to an injury from Amasis, we were given 90 days to allow him to heal his injury. But at that point, they had such a huge streak of wins that they were allowed to pick a stipulation on the match, and they decided 1 fall to a finish. And man, that was a battle if there ever was one.
Sounds like sudden death.
Absolutely was.
Which is ironic because most matches are 1 fall to a finish, but suddenly it has a lot more implication.
Yes.
So, do you have a preference, tag team wrestling or singles competition? Is there one that you like more? Do you like them both equally? Would you like to do one for a while and then change it up?
Well, tag team wrestling is a lost art in this day and age. The WWE dictates the pace, the flow of professional wrestling throughout the industry. And tag team wrestling is in a state of flux in their show. Now that is starting to change. Yes. There's a lot more teams appearing on their shows, which is helping everybody, right? They're rejuvenating tag team wrestling, and I'm a big fan of that art form. There's a different kind of story that is told when there are multiple men competing in the ring, as opposed to a one-on-one. Now, I do enjoy that, and ultimately, I would love to achieve single success, but I prefer doing battle and tag team action.
5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Hopefully, Amasis and myself will be dominating the tag team competition throughout the entire world. Yes. But to be honest with you, I don't know where I see myself in 5 years. There's so many different directions that Amasis and I can take. As you mentioned earlier, I started training or facilitating training at the Wrestle Factory, yes. With Amasis and myself teaming together, we've got many opportunities, and not just in America, but overseas as well, that we are discussing currently. There's so many different directions we can take, whether it be full-time tours throughout Japan and being there full-time, or throughout Europe, or even ending up on TNA or WWE TV, with WWE owning or creating the new facility that they did to create the next generation of superstars. Yes, we could end up in it anywhere.
So we discussed some of your in-ring influences. What about your out-of-ring influences? Anything that you bring in?
You just opened up Pandora's box, buddy.
Good.
Yes.
So I guess Greek mythology might be one of them.
There's I believe heavily in pulling from outside sources and not just being influenced from professional wrestling, but from your life. Not just wrestling, not just what happens within the wrestling industry, but movies and comics, TV, literature, music. Bring in influence from everywhere, all parts of your life. And I definitely do that with everything, every movement I make, every piece of my wardrobe is influenced by something that's almost does not exist within the wrestling world. Yes. I'm a huge fan, as we mentioned earlier, of horror. And a lot of the blogs I write, a lot of the things that get written down for Chikara by me are things that are heavily influenced by Hellraiser, by Pinhead from Hellraiser, and the things that he says. Yes. Even Alex from A Clockwork Orange, who I'm a big fan of. A book that I've read many times as well.
Hellraiser, actually, one of my other favorites.
I quite enjoy the Hellraiser franchise. They've destroyed it and butchered it over the years.
Yeah, if you've seen any of the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th movies, that doesn't even they shouldn't even be called Hellraiser movies.
The last one that they put out, not Deader. It doesn't even matter because that last movie was atrocious.
Yeah,
they filmed it just to maintain the rights. They just put out garbage so that they could maintain the rights to the franchise.
Right.
Yes. Pulling influence from those things. A lot of my gear was heavily inspired by Mortal Kombat characters. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan.
I was going to ask you about that. I too was a huge Mortal Kombat fan back in the day. Did you play in the arcades?
I absolutely did play in the arcades. I also owned a Genesis and a Super Nintendo and had them on those consoles as well. So not only get to play in the arcades, I got to enjoy it.
So when I say ABAC, ABB, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. On my back, actually, currently consists of 4 tattoos that are inspired from Mortal Kombat, and soon will be more as I find the time out of the ring to get it done. I have the Lin Kuei, the Shinnok Ryu, the Black Dragon, and the Red Dragon tattooed on my back. Their logos of their clans on my back.
Wow. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I'm that big of a Mortal Kombat fan. Yes.
Did you used to go to like one of the video game stores and buy the strategy guide that told you how to do all the moves? And all the
I did own the Mortal Kombat 2 book that had all the fatalities and their moves in it.
And had that
after a while, you don't need it because I've memorized every single one.
Yeah, luckily.
Hold block, up, B for the Scorpion fatality, which I did religiously.
I had the poster with all the moves printed on it, and I put it like up on the wall, so whenever we played it, anybody could reference it at any time.
You're a lot nicer than I am.
Well, I had that one friend when I first started playing the game. He didn't want to tell me any of the moves, so he would always just win. And when I started learning the moves, he was like, "How are you learning these moves?" Like I became like interrogated, like I betrayed him somehow.
Did he not see the poster on the wall? Was he a blind man that was beating you in video games?
This was pre-poster days.
Okay.
But he was that kid. He was like, "How do you know these moves?" I was like, "I'm learning because I keep losing."
Not just Mortal Kombat. No. There's also influences from Kung Fu. If you've watched any of my current Chikaras or the last run I've had in Chikara, I started switching to a more military-esque attire, a Kung Fu attire as well.
Right.
5 Deadly Venoms is highly influenced by. Number 2, practice snake style. And he was known as the Snake Spirit. Yes, which is what they started referring to me as in Chikara, the Snake Spirit. That is where my snake style was developed from. In the movie, one hand is the cobra's mouth and the other the cobra's tail. Yes. And that is the way he fights. But I decided that I was going to change the game up a little bit. My mask, my logo as well are 2 dueling snakes. So both of my hands are the cobra's mouth. Both strike quickly, they strike fast, and they strike hard. Yes, and both are venomous.
And you're also a Fight Club fan.
Yes.
Also,
it is only after resurrection. It's only after disaster we may be resurrected. Yes.
That was an excellent movie. Actually, there's a list. You have a top 5 postings of your favorite movies on your website.
Yes.
Then you had Fight Club on there, Mortal Kombat. What did you think of the Mortal Kombat movie?
I thought it was actually a very good video game to movie adaptation. It was one of the better adaptations that exist. I know there are things that could have happened that didn't. They wanted to keep it PG so it hits all audiences because, let's be honest, we all played that as youngsters. Yes. We probably shouldn't have been playing such hardcore and gory games, but we did. And they wanted to make it accessible by all audiences. But for a PG-13 film, they did very well with the Mortal Kombat franchise. But Annihilation was atrocious.
Annihilation was, yeah.
I am a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat TV show, Conquest. I've actually watched that entire TV show start to finish at least 7 times.
A lot of people don't even know it exists, but yeah, that show was excellent. That's where Kristanna Loken, a.k.a. the hot female Terminator from Terminator 3 came from.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
The Scorpion in that movie is also the same Scorpion from the movie. The Scorpion from that show is the same Scorpion as the one in the movie.
It was also nice to have Scorpion actually do something as opposed to the movies, which my only complaint about the movies was mostly that we had a lot of characters that didn't really get any airtime. Like other than fighting, we didn't get any backstory for Scorpion or Sub-Zero, and let's face it, everybody loves Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
No, and why were Scorpion and Sub-Zero hanging out together? Why were they just buddies like, oh, you know what, we're just going to come out of these chambers together and fight the Mortal Kombat guys, the Earth Defenders of the Earth Realm?
Right.
Just not the way it works.
Yeah. Oh, they're under my spell. I'm Shang Tsung. I can do whatever I want.
Did you watch Defenders of the Realm?
Was that the cartoon, or was that
That was the cartoon, yes.
I didn't get to see a lot of it, but I saw some episodes of it. Did you see the YouTube reboot of the Mortal Kombat story?
Yes, the original 7-minute trailer, the rebirth, the movie pitch was wonderful, and then to see that they came out with Legacy,
That's the one, yeah.
influenced off of that rebirth trailer. The Legacy is great. The trailer for the second season, yes, it's titillating. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear another Mortal Kombat enthusiast.
Yes.
Oh, the glory days of Mortal Kombat.
If you enjoyed Mortal Kombat, the TV show, there's a show called the WMAC Masters that existed in the very early 90s, which has some of those characters that would end up, being in the Mortal Kombat franchise on that TV show.
Right. That was an interesting show.
Yes. I mean, not the greatest show of all time, but it had some great martial arts action. Being a fan of martial arts myself, I quite enjoyed that. And that definitely influenced me later to follow the path of martial arts, as well as, taking many martial arts. Goju-Ryu, Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Muay Thai are all things that I've trained in.
And incorporate that into your style?
Yes.
Very, very good. Very good. Any upcoming events you want to plug?
Yes. On August 24th and August 25th, Wrestling is Fun and Wrestling is Cool will be holding pay-per-views. Wrestling is Fun being based out of Easton, Pennsylvania. Wrestling is Cool out of Deptford, New Jersey. If you're local to the area, come check it out. But if you can't, watch it live on iPay-per-view. It's only $10 Saturday night and Sunday afternoon. Yes. On Sunday afternoon, Amasis and myself will be teaming together against two of the finest warriors from the UK. Yes. And on the 24th, Wrestling is Fun, Amasis defends his Wrestling is Fun championship against Oleg the Usurper, the Barbarian. Yes.
And if you could just take a moment, I don't think a lot of the audience necessarily knows what the Wrestling Is series is. So, a little short explanation of the whole Wrestling Is universe.
Wrestling is wrestling by the wrestlers, I guess, in a way, for the wrestlers, by the wrestlers. It started off as a YouTube channel. Yes. Wrestling Is on YouTube. Check it out if you can. You'll see many, wrestler submitted videos, and not just relating to wrestling, but movie reviews and just Derek, which is I'm a huge fan of, as a magician who's also a professional wrestler. That's his life on the road, doing magic tricks at the places that he goes, or Darren Corbin doing his movie reviews on there. Many wrestlers submit things, and wrestling is fun, wrestling is cool, wrestling is heart, wrestling is awesome, wrestling is art, wrestling is respect, wrestling is intense, and I'm forgetting one off the top of my head. Kaiju as well. Yes. Kaiju Big Battle.
I actually
all part of a network together.
I actually went to my first Kaiju Big Battle a few weeks ago, right here in New York City.
Oh, I know what show you're referring to. Yes. What a wonderful show that was.
It was excellent. I saw Awful Waffle and the Gambling Monster.
I was there at that show. Yes, it was a wonderful time. I'm a big Kung Fu chicken noodle soup fan.
He was one of my favorites that evening. That was definitely a winner for me. Oh yeah, I did want to ask you.
He is my favorite.
In regards to video games, were you a Street Fighter fan?
No.
It's funny because
that's a huge no.
Neither was I. I know very little about Street Fighter even. I know the names, but I always felt like I was Camp Mortal Kombat, so I couldn't be Camp Street Fighter.
No. You knew as a young child that you were either Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. You could only play for one of the teams. It's like we're in gangs. You couldn't be in both. You had to be in one or the other.
Right.
And I definitely chose my side very early. Mortal Kombat all the way. I'm not a huge fan of 2D fighters, and I was a little bit disappointed that Mortal Kombat went back to the 2D fighter route with Mortal Kombat 9, with the reboot. I'm okay with that. I'm accepting of that. I will take the franchise as it is, and if that's the direction they choose to go in, I will continue to play and support. But I do prefer 3D fighters overall. I'm a big player of Dead or Alive, and used to be huge into Tekken. I kind of stepped away from Tekken and moved into Dead or Alive.
And outside the realm of fighting games, what other games have been your favorites over the years?
I'm a lover of RPGs. Final Fantasy VIII and Legend of Dragoon are two of my favorite RPGs. They hold different places, in my life. I enjoy the gameplay of Final Fantasy VIII almost way more than any other RPG. The junction system in that game is a favorite of mine. But Legend of Dragoon, I love dragons. I'm very drawn to them. And Legend of Dragoon, you turn into dragons. It's their special ability in that game. And the story in that game is great. The music is great. The video sequences are wonderful, especially for that time period on PlayStation 1. Definitely two favorites of mine, as well as the Mass Effect franchise.
Do you have a favorite console or a favorite era of games?
Yes, the PlayStation console, that era of just because there were no better string of RPGs released than on that console, especially when Squaresoft was releasing, the Final Fantasy franchise, Vagrant Story, Xenogears, again, Legend of Dragoon, Legend of Mana. There's just so many good RPGs that existed in that time period. On this current generation, the Xbox has released very little in the way of RPGs. We have Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, which are, to me, like the two best RPGs released, like true RPGs. And I know there are a lot of mixed genres now. Something like a Mass Effect, which has, action and RPG mixed together. But I enjoy true RPGs, and Lost Odyssey is the only real true RPG that's actually enjoyable, and you can play through start to finish, along with Blue Dragon. But on the PlayStation, so many of those games existed.
And how much of your week is dedicated to playing video games at this point in your life?
Very little, unfortunately, very little. I'm currently playing, as I travel on the road, I have Knights of the Old Republic on an iPad that I get to play. I'm doing 13-hour trips, to Chicago or 5-hour trips to Pittsburgh.
So you're
not a big Star Wars fan, but I do enjoy that game.
I was going to ask, are you a Star Wars fan or sci-fi even in general?
I enjoy sci-fi. I'm actually currently watching, because I missed it when it was on, the Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, how are you liking it?
I'm almost towards the end of the first season, and I wish I was watching this show when it was on. I wish I watched it when it was on the air, and I could talk about it with all the fans of Battlestar while it was happening, as opposed to now, because all the fans have seen it multiple times at this point, and like, oh, this, and this happens, and they ruin it for you. Like, I have to watch it in silence, alone, like I'm hiding it from the world.
Any other shows like Doctor Who, Star Trek?
I did read a lot of Star Trek literature as a child. I'm not a fan of the first Star Wars film or the actual franchise itself. I do respect how they've influenced, the sci-fi genre, and do know, there are wonderful moments to be had in that franchise. But overall, I'm not a big fan of the Star Wars stuff. Dune, I do enjoy from the 80s. Yes. But I'm more of a different kind of sci-fi, not the spacey sci-fi as that was. More of I'm a big fan of 80s movies. Kurt Russell and John Carpenter are a great team.
So were you a fan of Jason X then? Which was, horror and space sci-fi all rolled into one?
Oh, Jason X and Leprechaun in Space. Both of those films were awesome. The giant leprechaun at the end of the movie, and then Jason X turning into Metal Man. When the kill where he shoves the girl's face in that, like, cryogenic goop or whatever it was in the sink, and she starts to melt apart. Wonderful.
I'm guessing you're probably an Alien fan then.
I love the Alien franchise. Ridley Scott is one of my favorite directors. Yes. Prometheus, I also quite enjoyed as well. I know a lot of Aliens fans did not enjoy Prometheus, but I did.
You have very good taste, if I do say so myself.
Yes. Why, thank you. But like I was saying right before we got cut off, Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, The Thing. He put out such a wonderful string of movies in the 80s, yes.
Some classic horror right there.
Absolutely.
Are you a Friday the 13th fan as well?
I'm not as big of a fan of the, like, I'm going to stalk you through the woods kind of serial killers. When it comes to horror, Maniac from 1980 was a definite favorite of mine. The H.G. Lewis stuff from the early 60s, like Bay of Blood and Wizard of Gore and the Gore Girls. Stuff from Italy in the 80s, the Fulci movies like Zombie, or even, I'm not a big fan of Cannibal Holocaust, but I do enjoy it for what it is and how it's influenced, our generation of horror after that, as well as Cannibal Ferox and Cut and Run and things of that nature.
That movie, Cannibal Holocaust, for our listeners that might not have seen it, is one of the more interesting and more brutal horror movies I've ever seen. Did you see the one, like the director's cut where they show the mutilation of animals? That was actually mutilation of animals.
I actually owned that on DVD.
There you go. Yeah, that's not for the weak of heart to watch. Even if you're a horror movie fan, it might be a little over the top for you, but I would check it out.
No, I write for a website called themandibleclaw.com where I do movie reviews there. That list that's on my website, I haven't updated the rest of the list from that I've written for the site already. My plan is to bring all those lists over to my website. But I did one on 5 of the most disturbing movies that you could watch. Cannibal Holocaust was on that list, but it was not number 1.
What was number 1?
A Serbian film. Yes, a Serbian film was number 1. Mm-hmm. That is a movie that, although yes, it is a movie, right? Unlike Cannibal Holocaust, which does have a sense of realism to it, but you like it's a little kooky, it's a little over the top with the the tribes of South America. But a Serbian film was pushing you to believe that this was real, that what you were watching, is truly disturbing, that this could really happen. There's a sense of realism to that film that makes it more disturbing than almost any other film that I've seen. And that includes, Martyrs.
Martyrs also very good.
Also, yes, very good. As well, or any of the H.G. Lewis stuff, like the, Gore Girls and stuff like that. Which are very over the top and extra.
I will have to check out the Serbian film that you speak of.
Don't be mad now if you watch that film and walk away wondering what you're doing with your life and why you spent 2 hours watching that film.
Now, are you also a fan of the So Bad It's Good horror movies?
Oh, yes. Leprechaun in the Hood.
There you go. Have you seen, like, The Silent Night, Deadly Night 2?
Actually, I've not watched that yet, although it has been recommended to me many times.
That is an excellent flick. Bloody Murder, Rest Stop. They're such train wrecks. Like, you can't even tell what the director's trying to relay, but they're just gold at the same time, somehow.
I actually did a list on 5 It's So Bad It's Good movies as well. It's another one of those top 5 from at the Mandible Claw.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, as I mentioned already, you've got Leprechaun in the Hood, mm-hmm. which is actually my number 1 because it doesn't get any better than a rapping leprechaun. It also happens to feature Ice-T in the film. Weasels Rip My Flesh is another classic of mine where it not doesn't have weasels in it, radioactive weasels that grow to be huge, but you've got zombies and sharks and crazy, mad scientists and spaceships and all kinds of wackiness that happens. Only something that could only happen in the 60s. And a lot of people argue with me on this, but Zombie I thought was It's So Bad It's Good kind of film. Zombie I don't think is a bad film overall, but it is very it's not the best. And the average viewer, the average person watching it, a casual viewer, it would be pretty bad. It's really only enjoyed by, hardcore zombie fans. But especially the scene when the zombie's pushing the girl's head into this wooden spike on the wall. And it's just that slow push, the zoom into the eyes as the spike is pushing. That's very cheesy. Very over the top, and I absolutely loved every second of it.
Well, while you're watching it, you're wondering, like, well, I guess this can't happen. It's going too slow. And then it just happens.
And then it just happens, yes. Thanks Killing. Oh, God.
Oh, yes. The best, unfortunately, the best scene of that movie though is the very first scene where the pilgrim running through the woods and the turkey just whips out the axe and says, "Nice tits, bitch."
Actually, I quite enjoyed when he pulled out the turkey flavored condom.
Yes, great.
Or the gravy flavored condom. I mean.
Yes.
Like, how do you not know you're having sex with a turkey?
Yeah, that's definitely a top. So bad it's good. Although now Hollywood's trying to bank on that, and they've kind of ruined the genre. They've saturated it way too much.
Yes, with that man that's in R.I.P.D. The pretty boy. Mm-hmm. He was also in Blade Trinity. He ruins every franchise he's in. Green Lantern as well. All of his movies are very terrible, and I think they're purposely terrible. They just have to be as terrible as they are, but they're not actually any good.
Oh well. Hopefully this will be a self-correcting system one day, and we'll have our genre, our fabled genre of happiness back.
Nothing will ever be Troll 2. We try to capture that moment on film over and over again, but we never will.
So you mentioned burlesque earlier in this conversation because your lovely significant other partakes in such things.
Yes.
Is that have you guys ever checked out Lucha Vavoom?
Lucha Vavoom is something we're aware of. Yes. And we've actually been on shows together that have incorporated burlesque and wrestling.
Are you a burlesque fan yourself?
Yes.
Do you have some favorite performers?
Well, the lovely Haley Jane, yes.
Obviously.
Yes. She's the best performer.
Do you know Dita Von Teese, Marlo Marquise?
I'm absolutely familiar with them, and actually, thanks to Haley Jane, I'm very familiar with those ladies.
Oh, okay. She's worked with them, I'm guessing, or
Haley Jane. I don't know if she's worked specifically with them, but actually, she's awake now.
Oh,
yes, over there, staring at me, wondering why we're talking about her.
Ah, are we in trouble?
No.
Did I just send a snake to the doghouse?
It'd be more a snake den.
Yeah, we have quite a following of burlesque here in NYC. We have, Media Noche and Marlo Marquise is probably like the most well-known one.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you were from New York.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he did say Media Noche.
Heard Media Noche. Media Noche is my favorite performer. I've never worked with her first. I did a photo shoot with her, but I've never done a show with her. She's fantastic.
Well, I don't know if you picked up on any of that, but Media Noche, yes, is her favorite performer.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, there you go.
But I will keep an eye out for Miss Haley Jane, as I will for you. You said August 24th and 25th, wrestling is?
Yep, wrestling is both live on iPay-per-view. You can check those shows out at smvod.com if you can't make it to the shows in Deptford, New Jersey or Easton, PA. And beyond that, we'll also be back at CZW, again, live on iPay-per-view, September 14th.
Okay. And do you have a website you want to plug for Haley?
Yes. You can check out Haley Jane, HaleyJane.com, and I am Haley Jane on Facebook, / I am Haley Jane, as well as Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr at the Pixie Pinup.
And one shining question for you before we say goodbye. Your one dream match. Any wrestler, any era versus Ophidian.
Oh man. I'm going to give you two answers here. Right? Because I actually have thought about my dream match against a non-wrestling character, right? And my dream match against an actual professional wrestler.
Ah.
Yes. So dream match of mine, my favorite luchador actually growing up, I was very influenced by the likes of Rey Mysterio, but Ultimo Dragon.
Ah, good choice.
Again, being the fan of dragons that I am, I have dragons tattooed all over my arms. Ultimo Dragon just oohed and awed me as a kid. The handstand that he does in the turnbuckle, I do because of him. Yes, some of his movements. I do the Asai DDT, I did for a while, but I no longer do it this moment. Due to a leg injury, I've kind of changed my offense up a bit and went back to my martial arts roots. But Ultimo Dragon's without a doubt somebody who I would absolutely love to wrestle. And I don't think the day will ever come where I can. But Ultimo Dragon ran the Toriumon school in Mexico, and Jorge Skida Rivera was the head trainer at that school, and I was lucky enough to train under that man. So the head trainer of Ultimo Dragon's school being Skida, I actually got a chance to train under for a long time and to learn a lot of my lucha. So I'm hoping that someday when I run into Ultimo Dragon, if I ever do, that helps me out.
Okay. And you said you had a non-wrestling?
Snake Plissken. I want Snake Plissken in a match.
And Snake Plissken is?
The Kurt Russell from Escape from New York.
Which is a good series. They did an Escape from L.A. years later, right?
In the 90s, yes. And it was a completely different movie. But it was very campy. Very, very campy. Bruce Campbell actually makes a cameo in that movie as well. That's why I'm a big fan of it, too. Anything Bruce Campbell, graces his face, graces with his face, I'm a fan of.
Right. Well, Mr. Ophidian, I want to thank you for sitting down with me today to do this interview.
I'm glad we could do it. Yes.
I'm extremely glad we do it. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Anytime you'd like to have me back.
Anytime? Oh, same time next week then.